We now know who the woman is that was just killed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. She was identified as 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, who was a mother, a wife, and a poet that lived in Minneapolis. And this is allegedly the officer that took her life today when he shot through her windshield. This right here is the bullet hole that ended up going through her head and took her life. Her own mother ended up having to identify her after she heard about what happened and said she was one of the kindest people she's ever known. The Department of Homeland Security called her a domestic who attempted to take the life of the federal agent. They said, and I quote, "One of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to take his life, an act of domestic T." They said they ordered her to move her SUV, at which point she sped towards one of the officers, but her mother is saying she wasn't a part of anything like that at all. There are now massive riots going on outside the federal courthouse in Minneapolis, and even their own mayor told the agents to get the F out of Minneapolis. We don't want you here. Rest in peace to this poor woman. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
You're about to see the moments leading up to the incident, including proof that the officer was actually struck by the vehicle. As you watch, I want you to listen for Renee Good's wife. You're going to see her in this video because she was involved. And she yells to her wife, "Drive, babe, drive," while the officer is literally standing in front of her car. Watch closely. All down. Here's the freeze frame of the exact moment that the wife told Renee Good to drive, babe, drive. The officer is literally standing directly in front of the vehicle. And here's another freeze frame showing him again standing right in front of her car as he's drawing his weapon. Now, was her intention to run him over? Maybe not. But anyone with half a brain knows that you're putting lives at risk when you put an officer in a threatening situation. Most police-involved shootings wouldn't even be an issue. We could avoid this altogether if people would follow orders. And if you think you're being wrongfully detained, let your lawyer handle it. You don't take actions into your own hands that puts officers in danger, because this is what happens. And yet the left keeps having to learn this lesson the hard way. But if you ask Jasmine Crockett about this situation, which, let's be honest, nobody did, she's going to tell you that she claims the right has zero regard for humanity. Very clearly remember the left not only celebrating, but justifying his death. And Jasmine, I'm not buying your fake tears, because you said yourself on live television that you refused to honor Charlie after he was tragically killed for freedom of speech. Not because he was harassing someone, not because he was barricading officers in, not because he was endangering officers. No, he was shot because he challenged people to openly debate ideas. When we choose not to honor a liberal lunatic who thought it was okay to harass, box in, and refuse to comply with officers' orders. As for the investigation into this shooting, Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey, they're demanding the feds allow state investigators to join them. Legal expert Carrie Braun, she says the feds, they don't have to give in to that demand. Watch this. To her point, Walz's and Frey's initial press conferences immediately after the shooting already disqualified state and local authorities from participating because they had all clearly made up their minds before any investigation even started. Democrats for labeling ICE the Gestapo, comparing them to Nazis, and lying to the American people, claiming that they were deporting Americans and disappearing people. And speaking of lies, here's Adam Schiff blatantly telling another one. Thing that just came out of his mouth is an absolute lie. And the folks over at CNN, they're not any better. Here they are describing the shooting that took place yesterday involving two trendy Aragua gang members and Border Patrol. Gone from Maryland dad to married couple. Well, let me give you the facts. This, according to DHS, they say, quote, "The two criminal illegal aliens who attacked Border Patrol in Portland are a gang member and his prostitute, not an innocent married couple." They also let us know that the driver is a criminal illegal alien from Venezuela and suspected TDA gang member, who was arrested for DUI, and what a wild week it has been in the news department, and today is no exception. We now have cell phone footage from the ICE agent involved in Wednesday's Minneapolis shooting. You're going to actually see the moments leading up to shots fired, including how hard the agent was hit by the vehicle. And then we have freeze frames showing where the officer was standing when Renee Good's wife actually yelled, "Drive, babe, drive." Yeah, she was involved in all of this. And if you thought this story couldn't get any crazier, liberal activists are now joining the fight against ICE, doing the same dangerous stunts that got Renee Good killed. Wait until you see the videos from today and ICE's response. And the media? They're spinning a news story. CNN is calling the two TDA gang members involved in yesterday's Border Patrol shooting a married couple. I'm going to cut through the nonsense and give you the facts. And finally, why every American should now boycott McDonald's thanks to a Minneapolis location's insane political stunt. Like the video, subscribe, and hang on, because here we go. In a shocking new video out of Minneapolis, so-called ICE Watch activists, yes, the same group connected to Renee Good, the woman that was killed during that ICE operation, are literally hunting down federal agents. They're chasing them, surrounding them, barricading them with their cars like it's a low-budget Fast and Furious sequel sponsored by Antifa. Take a look at this lunacy. Heroes of the resistance, folks. I mean, this is how people get hurt. And this is exactly the chaos Democrats have been encouraging for years. Here's law enforcement warning liberal women this morning not to make the same mistake that Renee Good made. Liberal women, so nasty and condescending. And now think about this. What would happen if conservatives were chasing down Democrat politicians, blocking their cars, screaming at them while they were just trying to do their jobs? Can you even imagine the media meltdown? It would be wall-to-wall coverage, emergency panels, and lectures about threats to democracy. You know what these folks need in their life? Jesus. And a reminder of what Chicago PD Superintendent Larry Snellings had to say just a few months ago. As a result of this unfortunate incident, we're seeing the streets flooded with some of the left's finest people. Somebody needs to come get their Mima and make sure she has taken her medication. And it only gets worse from there, folks. Listen to the rhetoric coming out of a BLM press conference in Minneapolis. It's like we're in for another round of mostly peaceful protests, just like we saw in the Summer of Love. Just 3% of the population takes to the streets, it's an unstoppable force. In her words, it's noble, it's virtuous, it's democracy in action, as long as it's aimed at Trump. But when 3% of the country rises up against leftist ideology, suddenly it's an insurrection. It's a threat to democracy. Sure, that tracks. If your worldview is held together with duct tape and groupthink. Now let's go ahead and check in on these very peaceful protests. Totally peaceful. If you ignore the throwing, the blocking, and the screaming. In New York City, they were chanting horrific things about Kristi Noem and ICE. Openly celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, are now openly calling for the death of Kristi Noem and ICE. Somali man goes on camera and he claims in a very chilling way that the partial takeover of the United States is already complete. And now they're moving on to phase 2, a total takeover of America. He says his only regret in this whole process is that President Trump may not live long enough to actually see it happen. But he says, don't worry, Trump's children will witness the dark day in history. If that doesn't chill you to the bone, this will. A woman who actually grew up in an Islamic household is now warning Americans that we are on a dangerous path if we keep allowing these people who hate this country to stay here. Like this video so this warning reaches as many people as possible, and subscribe if you're new here. Welcome. This is a moment America cannot ignore. Now, before we get to that terrifying video, let's talk about the family of the man now running political cover for all of this. Tim Walz's daughter has officially entered full meltdown mode over people insulting her family online. Now look, I don't condone slurs ever, but you don't get to stage a moral emergency over mean words when your own father called ICE the Gestapo, labeled Trump a Nazi, said MAGA should be bullied, and even suggested it was time to be a little meaner. So let me get this straight. When they do it, it's righteous activism. When it's done back to them, it's the end of civilization. Students are actually asking that very same question right now, thanks to your father's leadership, or should I say lack thereof. Now, speaking of not tearing people down, let's remind everyone what her father thinks about that. All right, got it. She won't say the R word, but it's okay for him to call people names, mock them, and publicly humiliate them. I mean, what world are we living in where that counts as leadership? Political theater, though, it sure seems to run in the Walz family. Turned the page, all right, and said no thank you to Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. I mean, hopefully Minnesota has learned the lesson and votes differently in the next governor's race. But the most disturbing thing today, let's get back to the Somali man posting a video claiming their partial takeover of America is complete. And now they're working on the full takeover. According to him, Americans don't even have the right to this land. Before they finally get serious about deporting illegal immigrants who openly hate America. These are the people the left is fighting to protect and keep in the United States. People who don't love our country or its founding principles. He should be deported. Full stop. And speaking of the Somali community, the news just keeps getting worse for Ilhan Omar and the Minnesota fraud scheme. Did you hear this? It is now being reported that she filed legislation that led to the $250 million being defrauded. She also held events at one of the restaurants named in the fraud case, and she had a former staffer convicted in the fraud investigation. 60 of the 79 people indicted in this are from her 5th congressional district there in Minnesota. Seems to be an awful lot of links, so I'm guessing she had to have known something, right? She should be fully investigated, and deportation should not be off the table. Now, after all, we know Ilhan Omar, she never misses a chance to trash America, the country she lives.
Hickory dickory dock, this dyke showed up on my block. She stepped on the gas to run over my ass. Then she ate a few rounds from my Glock. Ooh.
Into this world all alone. You gotta take your soul. You're on your own. The crow flies straight, a perfect line.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about old Renee, this wonderful stay-at-home mom. She was married 3 times. The first time, her husband initiated the divorce. He got custody of both kids. That should tell you something right there, because usually the mother gets custody. Then she got married again and had the son that everybody's talking about, the 6-year-old. Well, he died, so somewhere along the lines after that, she met this woman, and they got married. So their full-time jobs were being activists and just basically going around all these places and video them. When Trump became president, they decided it was just too much. They were going to leave the country. And so they moved to Canada for a short time, and then they moved back. So she's claiming that she's going to raise this 6-year-old, like they were going to do it together. Well, she can't. She doesn't have any legal authority. The grandfather's trying to get custody right now. And they keep talking about what a great published poet she was. Well, it turns out she took a writing class at a university called Dominion University in Virginia. And they awarded her a prize. They're calling it a prestigious prize. That's it. Nothing else that she published. So they're making her into this big, wonderful person, and everything about it is a lie. So now you know. Oh, and by the way, the kids, like I said, were never taken from her, because she abused them. That's the rumor going around. She never had custody of them.
Breaker. This one hurts. A young Christian man took a bullet for speaking his mind. Name was Charlie. Husband, daddy, voice for the kids. Lord, why'd it go down like that? Stage lights cold as a winter rain. One breath, one prayer, then the world went strange. Crowd froze up when the thunder cracked. Truth on a mic and a life attacked. He talked about hope in a storming land, Bible in the heart and a promise in his hands, but a shadow reached from a coward's purse.
The whiplash that the left is giving me right now, because this was not even 4 months ago. You danced on TikTok to celebrate and mock his assassination. You desecrated the memorials that were set up across the nation. You said that he deserved it, that he had it coming. You dressed up as a bloody Charlie Kirk for Halloween, and then you said with your full chest that his kids would be better off without him. And now you have moral outrage, and now violence is unacceptable. The truth is simple. Your standards are not based on violence, they are based on an ideology. If the victim is an ideological enemy, you celebrate, you mock. If the victim is ideologically aligned with you, you demand compassion and accountability. Selective morality is not morality. Principles that change based on the victim are not principles. And by the way, if you are a conservative who celebrated the fact that a leftist got shot, this message applies to you too.
I've seen love walk out. I've buried my kin. Watched dreams burn down before they could begin.
I've got a little advice for you folks. When you see federal agents doing their jobs, leave them alone. Don't heckle them. Don't try to use your car as a weapon against them. Mind your business and leave them alone. They are merely doing their job. If you choose to heckle ICE agents, if you choose to use your vehicle as a weapon, then you are not the victim when they protect themselves. Everyone has a threshold of crap that they are willing to take. We have folks in this country who have literally demonized these agents. They are dedicating their time and energy into making your country safer, to enforce the laws of our country. When you see them enforcing the law, mind your business. And remember, if you choose not to mind your business, you are not the victim. Y'all have a wonderful night. God bless each of you.
She was shot in her head and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you? Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay.
We targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was, specifically to us.
Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? I am asking if there is anyone that will stand for the very people that elected us.
Give her an award. That was good. That was good. So it took for a lady who got pew pew, who got something she could have prevented, for y'all to cry. Are you serious? Where was the tears at for these women? What happened? Where was the tears at for these young girls who lost their lives? Nothing? No, y'all just ignored it the entire time. And this is where we are right now. And you know what's so crazy is that nobody is talking about the fact that that woman who lost her life would still be here had we not had open borders. Don't say that. Don't say that. Had we not discovered that we were being robbed of billions of dollars by not only like illegal people who weren't even American citizens, but government officials, we would not have to worry about ICE being in people's neighborhoods. We would not have to worry about people taking money to cause problems for these agents, being hurt or worse. As you can see, there was nothing. There was crickets. None of y'all said anything. And now you want to cry? As much as this lady talks about white people and racism, you're crying for a white woman now, huh? Because she's on your side. Because she's standing up for what you believe in. You didn't cry for none of these white, Latino, and black women who lost their lives because of an issue you created. Yeah, okay. Smallest violin in the world.
The Truth About Renee Good, Part 1. How much time do you suppose she spent on that street? She was parked perpendicular on a one-way street, so it's not like she was turning around. And people say she was waving people on. So maybe, if that's all she was doing, she spent 30 seconds on the street. The videos tell a different story. I'm putting together a bunch of all the truths that I've found over the last 2 days to make a factual account of what actually happened. I'm also including videos from people that have done some logical breakdowns. In court, the only things that matter are going to be facts, evidence, logic, training, case law, and law. Psst. Your emotions and what you think is right and wrong don't count here. I don't think a lot of people really noticed this video. It had a lot of information that I hadn't seen in any other videos, and I'm just going to point it out. I'm also going to give you a layout of the street so you know what you're actually seeing from top to bottom. I'm going to include a little segment that CNN found. Portland Avenue is a one-way north-south street located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. There's parking on either side of the street as well as a bike lane running north-south on the west side of the street. Pink line is Renee's car parked perpendicular. White line is Jonathan Ross in the silver Suburban. Yellow line are the other two gentlemen out of the Nissan Titan. Red X is where Renee's car hit the white parked car. This is the angle I was referring to that has not been seen very often. The pedestrian is walking up and Renee is already blocking the street. Cars are going into the parking spots or the bike lane to get around her. Multiple ICE vehicles are stopped in the street. The silver Suburban pulling up is driven by ICE agent Jonathan Ross. With the editing of the original video, we don't know the time frame that has passed as it jumps to further up the street with all different vehicles that we haven't seen as of yet. But the Nissan Titan pulls up and I believe you see the silver Suburban driving past her. This other angle shows Jonathan Ross parked to the left of the car and the incident unfolding. I edited out the rest of this 4-minute video because it's already too long. Why is this information important, you might ask? Because this time frame shows that she was not just turning and waving someone through. She actually spent quite a bit of time in the middle of the road with her car blocking and impeding traffic. What do you suppose she was doing? I'm not going to put my assumptions and my thoughts on why she did that, but I'll leave that up to you in the comments below. Number 2 coming next. Just a thought. Have a great day. The Truth About Renee Good, Part 2. Have you seen this angle? I went ahead and put together a video with all 5 angles that are available out there at this time. 4 angles you've probably already seen, including the one from Jonathan Ross's cell phone, but the 5th angle is pretty new, so you may have not seen it. In it, you will see that she is laying on the horn for a good part of 3.5 minutes of the video. I went ahead and cropped that so you don't have to watch all of that. But we did talk about in the previous video how long she was on the street impeding traffic. Go ahead and watch this and leave your thoughts in the comments below, and look for part 3 coming in probably about an hour. Just a thought. Have a great day.
No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my fucking God! You! Shame! 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 Get back! Get step up! Okay.
Change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Whoa!
The truth about Renee Good, part 3. Is Rebecca Good to blame? So I'm going to show you 2 different videos back to back. One is from Jonathan Ross's body cam, and it shows exactly what she says right before the accident happens. And then the second one is after the accident. A neighbor happened to be filming and caught her saying some pretty serious things. Go ahead and watch these and then leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you're not already following me, make sure you follow me, because I have about 10 or more of these videos coming out. We're on part 3. Part 4 is next.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Look, they don't, she was in a car with her, bro. Hey, was you riding with her? Did
To any of my lawyer friends, is there any way that she's legally responsible for this? Don't forget to follow me, because part 4 is coming in the next hour or so. Just a thought. Have a great day. The truth about Renee Good, part 4. So this is the biggest thing that's bothering me right now about all of this, is because no one does research. No one fact checks. Everyone just wants to be the first one to put something out and say they knew about it first. There's some stuff going around that's really bothering me right now. And the first thing is this photo right here. This is a photo of Renee pointing her fingers at her neck as if she's doing the Charlie Kirk. That's disgusting. And I put it into 7 AI generator checkers, whatever, to see if they were legit. 5 of them came back as 100% legit. 2 of them came out as 100% AI. So I'm doom scrolling this evening, and I come across that photo next to another photo. It's the heavyset woman that is doing that same thing at a protest after Charlie Kirk's thing, you know, or she was celebrating, right? She was celebrating. There's a sign, someone with a sign in the background, and they're pretty much the same picture. It's like they said, hey, here's Renee's face, put it on this chick's body and make an image. And whoever did that, you're absolutely disgusting. There's a special place in hell for you. Yeah, not cool. But the thing is, people are passing it around, giving character reference to Renee Good. We don't know the person that she is. She had a closed Instagram account until people who know her put stuff out. This is ridiculous that you guys are putting stuff out like this. And that brings me to my next subject. There is also a rep sheet going around of all her arrests and her domestic violence and this and that and whatever. No one looks at that and think there's something weird, or the fact that there's 4 different ones going around. 1 or 2 of them have her birth date completely wrong. She is around 37 years old, but this has her marked at 35 years old with a birth date in 1980. Not possible. You guys are all passing it around and just like, oh my God, here's another character reference. Yes, we want to believe that she's a bad person, but I don't believe that because that shit does not look legit. And you guys are passing it around, not fact checking, and you're making this horrible. It doesn't need to be like this. Look for legit facts. Don't spread rumors. Don't make it out like this because chances are she was probably a nice woman, got put in the wrong situation and freaked out. I just need your thoughts in the comments below. Just a thought. Have a great day.
Multiple eyewitnesses have confirmed that this activist was screaming, yelling, disrupting ICE operations all day. One witness says she was the main car leading the protest.
You know, think she was the target?
I don't know if she was a target. They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
That was her goal.
So you want to dispel the narrative surrounding Renee Good. Good, me too. Here's how you do it in 3 minutes or less, starting with the most obvious of people trying to say that she didn't hit the ICE agent or wasn't trying to. That's blatantly false. Here's the video footage showing her making direct eye contact with the ICE agent, as well as a still photo. My apologies that it's a little bit grainy. The ICE agent also did sustain injuries and had to be taken to the hospital for his injured knee as a result of Renee's actions. People are trying to say that because she reversed her car and then tried to change the direction, that shows that she wasn't trying to hit him, but alas, had she gone the direction that she was originally pointed in, she would have instantly crashed, rendering her completely helpless to the federal agents that would have inevitably arrested her. So she had no choice but to back up if she wanted to get away at all, which of course she did. She wanted to flee from the consequences of her actions, and she wanted to take out the ICE agent while doing so. She was emboldened and radicalized by those who were supposed to be protecting her. The next argument that we see is, well, she lived there. She was just trying to go to her house. She wasn't doing anything wrong. Incorrect. Her wife actually owned up and said that she takes the blame for what happened to Renee because she was the one who pushed her into going out and protesting against ICE agents, partaking in illegal activities, need I remind you, because she was trying to block traffic with her car. That endangers the lives of actual innocent people, especially those who might be stuck in the back of an ambulance and now cannot get to the hospital to receive medical treatment in time because of people like Renee deciding that they are going to go out and harass federal agents. Once again, if she had lived there, then her wife wouldn't have said that she was the one who told her to go out there and do this. That would make no sense. The next thing that I'm seeing is people saying, well, ICE agents blocked a physician from being able to go in and help her. This person did not show any credentials. Nobody knows if he was a physician or not. He might have just been saying that to gain access and to be able to get closer to the ICE agent and take things into his own hands. When you're dealing with a situation that's as volatile as that, you cannot just go off the trust me bro narrative. That's not how that works. The last thing that I keep seeing people say is that he had no right to use deadly force. That's just not true. She was using a deadly weapon, aka her vehicle, in order to try to go after him. We also have the Supreme Court case of Graham v. Connor, which establishes that objective reasonableness can be used by federal agents and law enforcement as a whole. So if another officer sees somebody trying to do something and they themselves would have reacted in the same way, then whether you think that it's ambiguous or not, they still have the right to act. They are not held to the exact same standard because you have never had a split second to decide between your life or somebody else's. So here's how you debunk that narrative. Hope it helped.